Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority announces new pump prices for petrol and diesel. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation (MBC) celebrates 27 years of television broadcasting. And in sports, Flames finished bottom at the Mukuru Four Nations tournament after a 1-0 defeat to hosts Botswana. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority (MERA) has adjusted upwards fuel prices. Petrol now costs 6,672 kwacha per litre, up from 4,935 kwacha, a 35% jump, while the price of diesel has risen by 35% to 6,687 kwacha from 4,944 kwacha. In a statement signed by board chairperson Lucas Kondowe, MERA has attributed the price hike to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East affecting global fuel prices. Earlier yesterday, MERA said it was making every effort to maintain stable and reliable fuel supply. In a public statement, MBC has seen MERA Acting Chief Executive Officer Dadi Chintambi said the authority is closely monitoring ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, including disruptions to key oil supply routes such as the Strait of Hormuz, a critical transit corridor for petroleum products. Chintambi said these developments have contributed to increased uncertainty in global fuel supply chain, potentially impacting import-dependent countries such as Malawi. MERA has since advised Malawians to desist from panic buying and use available fuel responsibly. Government is drafting a bill that will compel engineers and contractors to consult the Ministry of Natural Resources on designing and building climate-resilient structures. Minister of Natural Resources Patricia Wiskes said this in Lilongwe during the commemoration of World Meteorological Day. She said poorly designed infrastructure is costing the country billions of kwacha. Sam Piri has more in this report, read by Henix Manemba.
At the time when roads are breaking, some structures along the lake are submerged and lives have been lost due to collapsing walls. The country commemorated the World Meteorological Day in Lilongwe. In her address, the Minister of Natural Resources, Patricia Wiskes, was branded that building structures that are not climate resilient has pushed billions into bottomless pit. She said the ministry is championing a bill which will require engineers and contractors to consult the ministry on how they can build structures that can withstand climate shocks.
We want to work with contractors and architects to make sure that the way they construct their respective infrastructures are in such a way that the design will be able to be climate resilient. We have recently, as a country, experienced an increasing number of structures that have fallen down due to extreme weathers, and as a ministry, we are coming up with a law that will actually bind architects and contractors to make sure that the type of buildings they construct has actually structural integrity that can withstand any harsh weathers.
During the celebrations, the minister also launched a State of Climate report for 2025, which outlined on how the country was impacted by last year's weather. Commenting on the report, Director for the Department of Climate Change and Meteorological Services, Alusem Tiratira, said the report outlined opportunities and cost of not adhering to weather warnings.
The report is seeing how the climate affected the production to some extent, and also how the climate increased the lake levels and what that does mean to people maybe residing along the lakes as well. And it also talks about heat waves. We are seeing that last year the temperatures were above normal over many places. So this triggered also heat waves and also affected crops, because every time when you have a heat wave, that means also the crops, they feel some moisture stress. So all that put together, you see it in various sectors how the climate really fared.
This year's commemorations were held under the theme Observing Today, Protecting Tomorrow, and encouraged different sectors to invest in early warning systems and invest in shaping a climate resilient future.
Climate Smart Cities, a group comprising different organizations, has petitioned Parliament to ensure it allocates enough funding every year for climate change interventions. The grouping is also advocating for the development of policies and laws that enforce proactiveness in dealing with natural disasters. The group was led by Smart Cities Project Executive Director Martin Manyozo, who delivered the petition to the Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change and Natural Resources. From Lilongwe, Austin Fugula reports.
The presentation of the petition started with a climate justice march which began at Game Complex in the capital city all the way to Parliament building, where the young leaders delivered their grievances. Among the demands, the youths are lobbying Parliament to help the government in establishing the National Youth Climate Innovation Fund, investment in climate-resilient public infrastructure, and government-led relocation for people living in disaster-prone areas. Executive Director for Smart Cities Project, Martin Manyozo, says enforcement on disaster-related laws is of concern in mitigating effects of climate change.
For us, we are not just targeting the current parliamentary sitting, we are also targeting the August House. We are also targeting the future national budgets. You know, if even the petitions that we have delivered, they will not act on them right now. Advocacy is not easy, that we know, because we have been advocating for a lot of things. We are advocating, for example, in 2024, thin plastics, but we've been advocating for thin plastics, of ban of thin plastics in Malawi for over 10 years. So it's a process. So why we are presenting right now is continuous. We are not stopping here. We'll be with them, we'll be engaging them, the media, budget resolutions, and even next year.
Receiving the petition is chairperson for Parliamentary Committee on Climate Change and Natural Resources, Tiaone Henry. She says her committee will ensure the grievances young leaders on climate change project have presented are addressed by relevant authorities.
My role this morning and my members of the committee is to receive the petition and submit it to the necessary authorities, and from there they will guide us on what and which way to go. So our role has been done to receive the petition, and we'll make sure that wherever it goes we follow it up and up until it is presented in the House.
Climate Smart Cities Group says the death of over 30 people recently due to floods is a huge concern and has since called for collective efforts in addressing climate change challenges. Austin Fugula, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Today, April 1, marks 27 years of television broadcasting in Malawi. Television Malawi, TVM, which is the first television station in the country, started broadcasting to the nation in 1999. Meanwhile, the first Director General of TVM, now MBC TV, Dr. Benson Tembo, has described the 27 years of TV broadcasting in the country as mixed bag, saying the public television broadcaster has incorporated a lot of exciting and development-oriented programs. Tembo, who is also the current board chairperson for MBC, further said there is more the television station can do in terms of capacity development, as well as tapping more from technological developments in the digital world. As a way of commemorating the day, MBC TV is featuring veteran broadcasters in its programming today. In a related development, board chairperson for the Malawi Broadcasting Corporation, Dr. Benson Tembo, has described the appointment of Brian Banda as the new Director General of the public broadcaster at the beginning of a new chapter in the corporation's growth and development. Tembo made the remarks when MBC board unveiled Banda to management and staff of the public broadcaster. Ruth Chinangwa reports.
Tembo says the board has full confidence in the leadership of new Director General Brian Banda. Tembo is optimistic the appointment will improve standards and move the corporation forward, urging staff members to embrace unity and teamwork to achieve institutional goals.
Mr. Brian Banda is a professional and he has a lot of experience. He has experience in agenda setting programs, and that he's coming into MBC will even instill into members of staff that are in MBC to get those values and to get those skills from him, so that that can improve MBC. And by improving MBC and its output of programming that is palatable to the society or to Malawians, that will bring back the public trust and the glory that MBC needs.
For his part, Banda has pledged to work closely with both staff and stakeholders to enhance professionalism, efficiency and quality programming at the national broadcaster. Banda takes over from Moses Yooni, who has acted in the role since November last year. Ruth Chinangwa, MBC News, Blantyre.
Indian and Chinese scrap metal exporters are suspected to be fueling vandalism and theft of electricity supply of Commission of Malawi ESCOM and water boards infrastructure in the country. This follows the arrest of two nationals who were found with huge volumes of copper and aluminium cables and brass from meters belonging to ESCOM and water boards worth millions of kwachas. Simeon Boyce with the details.
Vandalism and theft of ESCOM and water boards infrastructure has reached alarming levels in the country. A day does not pass without hearing stories of vandalism on ESCOM transformers, aluminium and copper wires, and meters for water boards across the country. Blantyre and Cholo are the worst hit, says head of security at Electricity Supply Corporation of Malawi ESCOM, Tresful Waluza. ESCOM is losing an estimated 3 billion kwacha every day due to direct replacement costs and lost revenue. Zone Engineering Committee member for Blantyre Water Board, BWB, Rogers Msendema, says lately they have been losing 100 meters to vandalism and theft every day. The situation poses a huge concern as it is happening at a time when Blantyre has been identified as a cholera outbreak hotspot.
It's sad to note that BWB meters are being stolen and vandalized at a time when there is a surge in cholera cases, which can be prevented if people have access to potable clean water.
With the help of informants and the police, ESCOM recently arrested two Indian nationals who were found with large volumes of copper and aluminium and brass belonging to ESCOM and water boards ready for export in Blantyre. This arrest comes just after 1 year when police in Lilongwe also arrested a Chinese national for being found with 18 tons of stolen ESCOM copper wires and intercepted the 1.5 billion kwacha worth of vandalized and stolen Malawian copper and brass at Nyamapanda in Zimbabwe.
Of recent, we have managed to at least capture 2 Indians. They were found with copper and aluminium at their warehouses at Star Metals in Limbi.
Concerned with the malpractice, Chairperson for Southern Region Scrap Metals Association organized a meeting with all stakeholders to find a lasting solution. During the meeting, Police Detective for Southwest Region, Christopher Pangetti, questioned why big fishes of the illegal business, the Indians and the Chinese, did not turn up.
Big buyer.
In the scrap metals business, Indians and Chinese are big buyers who use local scrap metal vendors as conduits. Why are they not part of this meeting if we are serious about dealing with this problem?
In his remarks, Chairperson for Southern Region Scrap Metals Association, Bruno Unyolo, promised to summon the Chinese and the Indian scrap metal buyers to a meeting and has since warned that the association will not hesitate to withdraw the licenses for non-compliant buyers.
As an association, we will summon the Indians and the Chinese who are buyers and exporters of scrap metals to establish the reason why they did not attend this meeting. There are reports that some of them are also operating without licenses.
Ndiland-based scrap metal vendor James Chalera says they will be working hand in hand with all stakeholders to address the malpractice. Nowadays, any scrap metal, regardless of size or where it is collected from, has become another way of quick money and survival. The business has led to the moral decay to the respect which is given to those who have passed on. The graveyard has become an open space for theft of metal nameplates and iron bars that are sold as scrap metals. Simeon Boyce, MBC News, Blantyre.
This is MBC News, a reminder of our top stories. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority announces new pump prices for petrol and diesel. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation MBC celebrates 27 years of television broadcasting. And in sports, Flames finished bottom at the Mukuru Four Nations tournament after a 1-0 defeat to hosts Botswana. Welcome back. Parliament amended 4 tax laws, namely the Taxation Amendment Act, the Value Added Tax Act, VAT, the Customs and Excise Act, as well as the Tax Administration Amendment Act. Some key changes are the introduction of VAT on digital platforms such as YouTube and Facebook, and an adjustment of the threshold for VAT taxpayers. Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka has described the amendments as critical towards improving domestic revenue mobilization. Details in this report by Trust Office.
The amendment of the 4 tax laws forms part of the guidelines for the effective implementation of the 2026-2027 national budget, which was pegged at 10.9 trillion kwacha. The Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka highlighted that the amendments will boost domestic revenue mobilization as the country pushes to tap resources from the digital economy, improve efficiency in tax administration, but also address tax evasion.
Mr. Second Deputy Speaker, the bill also seeks to change the mineral royalty payment period from quarterly to monthly. This amendment will improve government's cash flow. Mr. Speaker, sir, you may also recall that this August House passed a motor vehicle insurance levy at 2% to support the Ministry of Health in addressing cases of road accidents.
UTM spokesperson Felix Njawala has since commended the government for the reduction of rental income tax from 30% to 15%, which he describes as affordable for most people.
It's not about overtaxing people, but it's about broadening the tax base. So maybe this is one of the areas that probably needs enhancement. This has already, it was there. This 30% has been there. Maybe what is happening now is just enforcement and also reduction of the percentage so that people can comply.
And Malawi Congress Party spokesperson Peter Dimba hopes the tax administration amendment will help protect Malawi's resources from transfer pricing, which is estimated at $500 million.
Apart from increasing production so that we export more and earn more forex, but the little forex that we have, can we please make sure that we protect it? And so that's why we fully supported this bill, because it's going to go a long way in making sure that we fight issues of transfer pricing and other malpractices in tax administration.
The tax laws which support the implementation of the national budget are expected to take effect on 1 April this year. Trust Office, MBC News, Lilongwe.
Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development Chimwemwe Chipungu says government has increased rentals for houses owned by the government and Malawi Housing Corporation to meet current market demand. Chipungu made the remarks when presenting ministerial statements on administration of public housing estates. According to Chipungu, rentals for government houses have been increased by 65% effective 1st April this year, while rentals for Malawi Housing Corporation houses have been increased by 30% effective 1st May this year. Chipungu explains.
We've got 224 houses that is managed by the Department of Housing and Ministry of Lands, and 6,400 that is managed by Malawi Housing Corporation. But looking at the rentals, they were totally on the lower side as compared to what the private sector charges. So we thought of adjusting the prices to meet the current market demand. We have so many challenges. One, people not paying the rentals in good time. Secondly, the houses that we have, they are in bad shape. And also the demand is high. Most of the citizens would prefer to go into our houses just because the prices, the rentals are manageable. But as I've said, looking at the current market demand, we cannot be able to finish or rehabilitate these houses to be habitable.
Salima Central West legislator Enoch Pale says he supports the idea but urged the Ministry of Lands to evaluate and maintain the houses before adjusting the prices.
If there is an intention to revise upwards the rentals from the tenants, it's a good idea. But probably before they do that, my submission was can the ministry evaluate all the units to see their value? Because most of these houses have not been maintained for so long. Now, an occupant should appreciate the value for the revision. And if that can be done, that would be very nice. Before they tell them this is the revision up to this amount, let somebody appreciate why he's staying in Salima, is staying in Lilongwe elsewhere, the value of that rent. Because many of these occupants, they were maintaining the houses by themselves just to make sure that they're in a safe space. So it's a good idea, but that idea should go together with an attempt to maintain those houses.
In sports, the Malawi national football team has finished bottom of the Mukuru Four-Nation tournament hosted in Botswana after a 1-0 loss to the hosts in their final match on Tuesday. The result means Malawi lost both of its fixtures and failed to score a goal across the two matches. The team, coached by Kalisto Pasua, had earlier lost to Zambia national team on post-match penalties in their opening game, following a goalless draw in regular time. And that item wraps up this edition of MBC News. A reminder of our top stories. Malawi Energy Regulatory Authority announces new pump prices for petrol and diesel. Malawi Broadcasting Corporation MBC celebrates 27 years of television broadcasting. And in sports, Flames finished bottom at the Mukuru Four Nations tournament after a 1-0 defeat to hosts Botswana. For the latest news, follow our digital platforms by scanning the QR code at the top right corner of your TV screen. You've been with me, Wadza Otomani. Thanks for watching and goodbye.
Good morning and welcome. It's time for weather update. We are expecting windy, foggy and cloudy conditions over some areas. Thunderstorms and locally heavy rains are also anticipated mainly over lakeshore and northern areas. We should also expect mwera winds to blow over all our water bodies. This is all due to the influence of unstable easterly air mass from the Indian Ocean into our country. This morning, mild conditions are expected over most areas, whereby Zuzu, Kasungu,